Right, so now I'm going to build the Beast-Skewer Killbow, which looks quite an interesting little model. Now, obviously there are a lot of very delicate little parts on this, so I'm going to have to be very conscious when I go through this. I'm just looking at some of the parts and I am very worried that a little bit too much pressure at the wrong time and things are just going to end up snapping. So I'm going to take my time with this. Obviously go through my thoughts as I come across the models, personal thoughts as we go through it. So I'm going to start off with actually beginning with the main frame. So it's parts 1, 2 and 3, which are predominantly the main bow itself. Now I'm looking here, you've got to be careful because you've got to be mindful about the difference between a part of the kit and a mould point. So you can see little ones like this here. Now the kits are becoming in some cases quite complex. This is still a push fit miniature, so I've had push fit miniatures before now that are larger in scale, and I still feel that they hold too many gaps. Maybe if I had built one before and had a spare one, I'll even show you how to take away the push fit to get better bonds. But obviously I'm trying to do this to help people understand how to build their first miniatures in these kind of things. It's piece number 2 over here. Kind of looks like a guitar. Yeah, so obviously I don't want to go off and do my own thing. I want to show you all how I do it. Places that I struggle. So, you know, if I end up with a bad little moment, then you can see where it went wrong. Hopefully not make the same mistake. Okay, number 3, part 3 is... Right, it's a tiny little cog. Let me find it somewhere. Here it is. So it's kind of on the side over here. Right, I'm just looking very carefully here because the mould kind of joins onto a very small pin over this side. Okay. Bit of a mould line on some parts of this one as well. I'll just have to be careful when I'm trying to shave it down and tidy it up to make sure that I don't overdo it and damage something. Oh gosh, this is a fiddly little bit, isn't it? It's also a lovely hot day in my office, which isn't good really because I'm trying to do this kind of work. There's a couple of like nails bolting into this. Very, very easy to snap. In fact, I think I've snapped one off while I was removing it from the sprue. Let's clear up all these mould lines, make sure they're well shaved down. Gotta be careful when taking away mould lines on something that's wooden as well, because you might end up scraping away the grain. just be very careful on this part. So watch where you're holding it when you're trying to get rid of any mould lines, because otherwise you're going to end up snapping something you don't want to snap. Right, okay, good. So we got those three parts together. I'm going to see if these genuinely will just push fit, no problem. Not even going to try and use glue. I'm genuinely just going to see if I can get away. Let me check here. So hold it in this angle, and then this one, kind of the guitar. I'm going to keep calling that the guitar towards the front. The pin is kind of 2/3 off, almost halfway along. Okay, so there's one point where it pushes in like that, and it's not that bad actually. It's not that bad a push fit. That slight gap there that I'm not happy with, but it's only minor on this case. Now again, this part at the back, we have a kind of tiny little cog point. Ooh, gosh, this is going to slip and slide, isn't it? Right, so the important thing is if you look carefully, there's a kind of little rope section, and this has to go in here. Now, personally, I think that's going to need some glue, because that does not feel like it'll hold on. Come on, glue. No, you decided to dry up, have you? There you go. Okay, so that's nice and solid, that so far. Now we've got to get some very brittle pieces. I'm going to describe these as 5, 6, 7 and 8. So what we've got is we've got some very, very fine pieces here. You can see number 6. I'm going to start with number 5, because they look very similar, 5 and 6, and I think it's going to be very easy to get the two confused. Now, with these, if you do have any overhang, it's best to find a flat surface that you can go onto, because if you try and do this with it in your hand, it's just going to break. Okay, now this seems to click into one of these sides here. Let me work out whereabouts. So it looks like way down here. Good. There we go. Like that. Now I'm going to get the other side out. Number 6. As I said on my review, my own personal love of artillery seems to exceed a particular love of monsters for me. Just harking back to my love affair with the old dwarves, and I always love a bit of artillery in a war machine, and I will always probably prefer it over a monster any day of the week. In fact, when I kind of go back monster wise, like giant winged monsters, I think the only thing I ever had was a wyvern with Azag the Slaughterer on it, and again it's more about having Azag than the actual wyvern. Right, 7 and 8. If you never played Old Hammer or Warhammer Total War, Azag was awesome. He was an orc who'd found Nagash's Crown of Sorcery and had him Nagash constantly whispering to him, making him a very feared general, and also a spellcaster of death. Now, I can remember though, they changed it all up in one edition of Warhammer so that he couldn't raise dead anymore. He could use the Law of Death, but the Law of Death did not openly have raise dead spells. So it was kind of sad in a way that it had got lost, because I absolutely loved. It was just such a bane for people when, you know, you had like a winged monster land behind, and then he'd drop in a unit of skeletons. It's freaking awesome. Okay, number 8. Yeah, gosh, I mean, imagine that. You got a terror-causing creature coming in at the back of one thing, and then you could drop a bunch of skeletons behind the enemy line, which causes fear, and you could cause such a massive rout to the enemy lines in no time at all. It was so amazing. I loved it. And then I think they took it away when they introduced the concept of the laws. The 8 colleges were always there, but they made like generic spells for the Law of Death, so it could, like, I think, age and kill people. It was just so sad. It was just so frustrating, because I loved having Azag the Slaughterer drop in. But again, it was always about having Azag rather than the Wyvern, although I did love the Wyvern. Okay, now, looking at this, these kind of pop back, and it looks like they're going to go, these pins are going to go straight flat into the scenic base later on. Right, now to get number 4, which is the head of the crossbow. Well, is it a crossbow? Killbow, I mean. It's got an interesting appearance. So it's got 4 arms, making it proper heavy duty. If it is a crossbow, then it is a heavy duty. I can't remember what the kind of the medieval name for this kind of crossbow would have been. You know, like this kind of assault weapon, artillery piece, Orniger maybe, where they would have like an siege crossbow basically. I think if I were to wish for any pieces of artillery that used to exist in Old Hammer to be taken across to the Age of Sigmar, it's got to be things like the Goblobber, which was a dwarven rock lobber that threw goblins instead of rocks. The Doomdiver catapult, which was just so much fun, tossing a goblin through the air and then it would kind of glide and hit everyone. I used to have so many artillery pieces, even for my orcs and goblins. I had like such interesting armies. See, with Age of Sigmar, I'm going for this. You know, I'm going for exactly what I'm enjoying, which is my orcs, and I'm thinking, when Old Hammer comes out, I think it's going to have to be the dwarves, because I love them so much, and I think I'll reignite with my first love. Yeah, I can remember actually, first battle report I ever read so many years ago. This dwarf versus Bretonnian. I think it was like issue 102 or something like that. It's a very interesting battle report it was between Bretonnia and dwarves, and they were after like a magical weapon that was hidden in a cave. Right, once you've tidied this up, you need to get it on here. So there's 5 points that you need to put it in. These 5 plus that, yeah? So it's going to take a bit of gentle lining up to begin with. Now, one of my concerns here is I'm flagging this up as a major breakage point. Don't try and force them all in at once. Okay, grab each one separately, gently push them in like that. Okay, don't rush it. Gently tease them in. Clockwise motion, a little bit of pressure each time until they're all in. Okay, that's good actually. For a push fit, that's gone in perfectly. I'm also feeling like actually that'll be great for painting, because I might be able to just pop that off and paint it separately. So I'm seeing that as a potential benefit of this push fit on this one. So, you know, score 1 for the push fit in that case. Okay, moving on now. I've got to put the Beast-Skewer guy, basically one of the cruel boy who mans this, or oryx it. It's like racist saying mans it, isn't it? He doesn't mans it, he oryx it. Right, number 10. Number 10, number 11, and number 12. Oh, I've got songs by The Cure stuck in my head. Not the worst songs in the world to have stuck in your head, but I wish I could just put them on while I was doing this. But then YouTube wouldn't let me post the video because it'll have someone's music on it, unfortunately. So every so often I might end up just randomly humming Part of Love Cats. Okay, so tidying up these little bits now. So quite a few join points on this, I think. But let's get it all tidied up nice and perfect. So hole goes to the back of there. Then this arm piece is going to attach here. So I think it kind of pops into there and then pushes backwards deep in. There we go. Now I'm just gonna try and gently use the flat end of this just to kind of make sure it's all the way in. Yeah. Don't use anything sharp when you're pushing those in, otherwise you're just going to cut into it. Okay. 13 and 14, which is the head and the front of this cruel boy. Okay, so head slides onto the top there. Nice, good. It's a good fit, that actually. Really good fit for a push fit, this. So I'm actually giving this one a good lot of ticks this time. Problem is, now that this one's going in, is it going to seal? Oh, look, do you know what? This, for a push fit, is great. Okay, normally I despise these things, but this is genuinely not giving me any grief. Look, I mean, it's just popped together. So you have no idea how worried I was that this was just going to be an absolute nightmare. So we can just slide him in. The good thing is we don't don't put him in too hard, because later on we can take advantage of the fact that it'll all pop apart. Okay, now the little grot who's got the job of winding it up. I've really been enjoying reading the lore that comes with all of this. I have to say, I'm finding it very... I'm trying to describe how I'm finding it. It's unique. It's got its own feeling that I'm positive about. I know a lot of kind of old Hammer players like myself who were a bit miffed about the complete end times. Never gave Age of Sigmar a chance to begin with. And now that I'm reading up on them, I'm like, you know what, this is nice. It's unique. It's its own story. You know. Let's have a look. And 16. Where's piece 16 now? It's over here. Yeah, I know it seems odd to say, well, it's its own story. Well, of course it's its own story. But what I mean is it's kind of, different. I've never personally, I know maybe other people say, well, yeah, this has been done. We've come across this. Okay, if you've come across it, great, but the kind of the closed off the old world after the battle at the end times. Now, when I start thinking about the Warhammer world, in a lot of ways, it had kind of almost naturally ran its course in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that I'm happy that the world got blown up, but it kind of stagnated in too many ways. Now, you don't need to agree with me on that one. Everyone's fully entitled to their own opinion about everything. But the old world was beautiful, but it had a lot in common with what you might call natural, generic, fantasy worlds. It had a lot of promise. It had a lot of we're heading, it's a renaissance place. It's reaching that point where technology is becoming more and more common. Well, mechanical technology is becoming more common. It's infused with magic, so it's got that kind of thing. And it's got a lot of beautiful ideas behind it that I like. I'm not going to deny it. But what do you do from that point? So you've got this point where you've got another endless battle coming from the north. So what can you do, in all honesty? Well, okay, you can... let's slide this in here. It looks like this goes in here nice and neat. Again, okay, I'm going to add a few positives for this push fit. This is going to be a lot easier to paint because I can just pop things apart. Okay, who's our next little part? So that's the main Beast-Skewer Killbow done. And now we've got a loader. So someone whose job it is to, travel along with the spare parts by the look of it, the bow, the extra bits. So 21, 22 and 23. Yeah, so where was it? Yeah, so the problem is, where do you take that on the old Hammer stuff? You're at the end times. you can either advance a bit further and start heading into the, you know, the well, the Age of Imperialism doesn't really work in the Warhammer context. And there are certain issues, I would say, because obviously, you know, you've got the human race. The only sort of major groups there are European types and Asian, and honestly that's the only suggestion of the kind of peoples that you find, because obviously it sounds like people of Arabic descent and Egyptian area, they pretty much all got undead. Yeah, they pretty much got wiped out. You've got the, what they call now, the Strigoi, the kind of, trying to use the right word here because it can be considered offensive, can't it? Romanovs, I think that's the right word. Romanos. I don't want to say the word that I'm thinking of because I think it's considered to be inappropriate now. Anyway, what we're looking at is asking, I forgot what I'm up to now. You know, where do you go? Yeah, you're heading to the Age of Imperialism, and make it reflect that. You head towards maybe an industrial revolution. So you say, oh, they're having an industrial revolution, it's going to be steampunk. And that's it, you head into steampunk at that point, which I don't think that would have felt right for me. Anyway, I suppose, so in a lot of ways, ending it there and then kind of makes sense. It's upsetting, but it is a good moment, you know. And not many places would dare, to be quite honest, have the quote good guys lose. Anyway, so I think that's kind of good. You know, the end times blows it open. Obviously, Sigmar being like a god at this point, you know, kind of floats through the ether, comes across these strange little round spheres. Now, it didn't take me much reading into this to find out that there's definitely an implication that parts of the old world were reforged inside these realm spheres. Then you've got like really weird things, right? I'm gonna have to stop talking because I'm gonna get this all put together wrong if I don't. So this part kind of seems to click. This is very strange, isn't it? Right, so gotta get this like this. This goes up here. This part, it looks like it hooks over like that. Whoop. And then this back part kind of looks like it clicks. Gosh, I can't even work out how this clicks actually. It's very strange. If I got the right piece here. Maybe I picked up the wrong piece. I think that's why I'm not getting anywhere. Right, so I've got 21, 22, 23 go like this. They click together here. They'll kind of wrap over each other. It's 21 that I need. I must have clipped off the wrong piece somewhere. Did 21's over here. I think there's different parts maybe. I'll see what's going on here. Yeah. He's lifting up the actual bow holder, this guy here. So yeah, so here we go. I'm going to have fun making videos this half term because I'm going to have an awful lot of pausing the video when someone shouts for me. So it's going to be quite a lot of, I suspect, like dad moments. Followed by me kind of trying to pause the video. Right. So popping these in, yeah, so you got to kind of nestle these together and get them to pop in just right. There we go. Again, another score for the push fit. This is a very, you know, rare example of a push fit where I am not constantly aggravated. Right, 24 for the head here. And then piece 20 is kind of what he's standing on. Anyway, yeah, so I'm actually genuinely interested though to see what I know. The old Empire kits are used as the Free City militias in Age of Sigmar, and with the old hammer coming out, I'm wondering how they're gonna deal with the kind of Empire. Yeah, I think. Let's have a look here. So it's kind of a. I'll work that out in a second. So I'm just trying to sort of work this out. Oh, right, I thought he was standing on this, but he's not. He's actually carrying it by the look of it here. Quite interesting. Now, based upon this, I feel that I might need just to put a bit of glue there. Just to secure it. I'm not going to yet though, because again, might make painting slightly easier if I don't. Okay, now his little head's going on. Trying to get the position of that head just right, actually. Okay, yeah. Making sure he's kind of looking down the end of this. Like that. Good. Now, he's also got his head, a head here, which looks quite interesting. Let's see how that plans out. It looks like it's the bottom of the body. Right, I think before I cut off part 27 by accident, thinking it was a 21. So now I need 26 as well, which is this point. And then, where is it now? 25 over here. Just trying to get some of the excess off this little arm here. Right. Okay, so these are all going to pop together now, hopefully quite easily. So you get this one kind of pointed upwards. 26 is going to pop up into it here. Looks like it goes there, but it looks like it's slightly tight. Let me, oh, wrong way around, that's why. Make sure though the larger pin is pointing downwards. Almost tried to force the larger pin into the... Okay, and then this one here, which looks like his legs, in a squat position, goes in this one. Oh gosh, I've got to make sure I get these the right way around now. Make sure the feet are pointing downwards while you do this. There's a bit of excess right at the end there. That's why it's struggling. So yeah, get them two together. Pop these upwards. Oh, this poor guy, he doesn't seem like he gets a break, this one. Like, literally just has to squat there. Right. Now, what we've got as well is we've got 17, 18 and 19 to create the actual, what looks like a bag. To get this tidied up nice and quick. A couple of mold lines here though, could do with getting off. So watch out that you're not cutting off the little studs on this when you're cleaning this part up. Pop this in there. Nice. Pop this part over here. Got two little wheels on it. Little squatty grotty gets to go here. Then you got the other ammo grot, you know, quite happily pushing his head into it. Okay, so there we have this little guy carrying the ammo, which is again a nice little feature. Now we just need to get this molded base section out. Okay, so I'm just going to gently fit this. I don't want to kind of push it too heavily on, because my plan is obviously to take it off for painting, to make painting a lot easier. But he kind of slides on there. Now it looks like this part goes over here. Don't want to push it too hard in because I want to be able to pop it off later for painting. There we go. Now obviously it just needs to pop onto a base. And there we have it. We have the Beast-Skewer Killbow. Do you know what? I normally despise push fit models. I normally hate the way that they go together. However, this one has been an absolute pleasure. It's been easy to put together. There's been no kind of major problems along the way. So I'm giving this one a kind of, you know, thumbs up, positive review. Yeah, I like this kit. It was really easy, simple, and no push fit gaps, which, as everyone knows, I absolutely despise.